10.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
Did I take your shine? You felt,
No,
I
I
thought you would
loved
be
it.
happy, but then you
I
looked a
was
little
so
upset.
happy.
Okay, good.
What?
Okay,
For all the
good.
patrons, look, my shirt dirty, but exclusive. You know what I mean?
Oh! Bow, 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 bow.
You're
If you
not
were
a
on
patron.
Patreon,
You
you would
don't
know
know what
what
I
it
just
is,
did.
and you ain't gonna find out until you sign up.
We ain't telling you neither, but they coming soon, y'all. Got the photo shoot.
That is cute.
It's cute or whatever. Like I just got makeup on the collar. What's crack-a-lackin', girlfriend?
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my small, cold, tight, balled up heart. The way y'all showed love in my Cash App for my birthday.
Well, how much money you get? Tell me.
Girl, let's just say I could have put that money to my tickets. Did I?
What tickets?
Whatever
Your parking
card.
tickets?
I could. And I
But
want to
you-
say thank you. I wish I had my girls. I'd put them in today too. Damn. Slacking. But thank y'all. You know, shout out to the community. Shout out to generous donors. Almost
You
feel
had a
like
couple.
NPR out this bitch. Shout out to the generous donors.
Did you
That
have any men's in them?
a couple.
Oh,
Just one. He made it rain. I said, stop.
don't stop. Stop it. Don't stop.
Stop, but don't stop. It's my
That's
birthday tomorrow too. It's a weekend thing.
Stop.
No, it was good. I spent my birthday like a 37-year-old. It was borderline pathetic, but God is good. I'm here and I'm grateful. You know, again, I had the blues. I was depressed a little bit. And then I woke up. I was just about to get my period. And I was like, hold up. None of that is real. Or maybe it was. Who knows? Oh, I can't tell if the veil is thin and I see everything or I make it all up in my head. But I was very sad. And then I got my period and I felt better. But I did, I was feeling reflective. And it's the end of the year, thinking about next year. You hear her?
Just a little bit. Keep going.
She just yipping and yapping. She sound like a baby puppy in the background. I'm planning on going leaner. I'm gonna go leaner. I'm getting rid of things so I can focus and hone in on what's important. I'm also considering getting a real job. But wait, hear me out on this. I think I need to get a corporate, like a job. I think I need to figure out how people do things and systems in order so that like I can feel I could be trained up a little bit. And if y'all want to hire me, I have no experience, but I'm a fast learn and I do probably have some experience, just not in the credential way. Yeah, it's
everything,
different.
girl. You have
it's
the
different.
experience. You just
It's
got
just
to
not
put it on that paper.
credentialized. It's not credentialized, verified, and put on paper. But I'm dead ass. If somebody's like, "Oh yeah, Shanti, here's a skill set," and you have to get pinged, I want a job where I'm getting pinged. What is a ping? I want it.
You don't want that.
Ping me, pong me. I really feel like I need this. I need some type of training in this. What do you call it?
Discipline, girl.
No, I think that's a false narrative, and your judgment of me seep through there, and it's okay.
What? That's
But
what you're talking
I don't
about.
feel like I'm an undisciplined person. I'm constantly doing stuff. I just need order. It needs order and systems.
Undisciplined is not that you're lazy. Undisciplined is exactly what you said. Order. You just need like processes put into place and to learn those processes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Pause it and go yell at her.
Oh, not you.
I already saw your face getting upset.
How do I do that?
Sorry, Mati. Give us 1 second. I can't see you with a corporate job because
It's not corporate. It's just like some kind. I need need to be on teams, like a corporate creative job, maybe.
it's still a corporate job, Shanti. You still have like meetings, and I think that it's just like you want to learn processes, you want to learn programs that will help you organize yourself more.
Yeah, spreadsheets.
That's what I mean when I say discipline. I don't mean it's not ping pong. Stop saying ping pong.
I need that kind of. It's a rigor. It's deadlines. It's like fear.
That's discipline.
That kind of shit.
Yeah.
No, it's
like
not.
Professional development.
Professional development. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm dead ass. You guys think I'm playing?
But no, I think that you could do it. I just think you would hate it. And it's funny coming from you because you're like, it's white people that you work with? And I'm like, what? Like, it's just so crazy how far removed from from that world you are. The fact that you want to go into it is wild. Mm-hmm. Really,
I do. I want the range.
I wish you would have just finished school or something because that you would have gotten it there.
But you don't do that. First she said I'm undisciplined. Then she said I'm uneducated.
No, I didn't. That's not what I said. This is
a hard beginning for me.
Please don't say that because then somebody go write a fucking review saying that I'm
right about both of us now. So don't worry.
Shanti got her first review to her feelings.
Misconstruing everything Antoinette says. Bitch, she's a bad friend.
Anyway. First a negative review and she laid in the bed while I talked her up the ledge. I said, it's okay, girl. It'll be okay. Listen, if that's what you want to do, I fully support you and I will help you get your resume together.
Give me an entry-level corporate team job, creative.
You realize you will make no money and it will take up more time.
You realize I make no money now?
All right.
Or I think that's another thing. Y'all think I'm eating out here and I love...
You just got grills. So.
I love this illusion that people are like, yeah, like you're wildly successful. I'm like...
Sable is a success. I don't care what you say. Here you go. I'm not doing this with you.
It ain't excess in my pocket yet.
We 7 minutes
I know of all people. I know you now over here like... It ain't successful till it brings me some financial ease.
When have I ever said that? Tell me.
A lot of things. You're not gonna. You. Security and finances are very important to you.
I've never said something wasn't successful unless it brings money. I want it to bring money.
Well, I guess it's the definition of it. Like,
yeah. I think the Sable is about to do big stuff, but all right. But I think to do this other work, maybe it'll help you with Sable. Sure.
I'm trying to lean down on Sable and get some professional development so that I can focus and like learn.
And you don't want
that I can take back
because you need to get paid to do it, right?
Yeah, you know me. I like hands-on. I like to get in the mix. I like to just do it. So if you're hiring, if you want to start your LLC and hire me, Antoinette.
You need some professional
highly unqualified.
No, stop. I can't do
highly
this
unqualified.
No,
damn.
We work together already, so it's like I'm dead ass serious. If you want to learn some of these things, we can sit. I don't know what it. You need to make a comprehensive list of what you want to learn.
I don't
and
know
I'll be more than happy to show you. But also, YouTube University is real. I'm trying to tell you it is.
We're two different people. We've always been this way. It's not how I learn. It's just not. Throw me in.
That's not really how people. All right. When you get in the corporate world, oftentimes you have to go fetch that information. There's no onboarding, or it's terrible. You got to go figure it out.
Well, even in that case, I'll go do it then.
But I've been spending time on YouTube figuring it out.
But I won't know what to go YouTube unless I'm in the context of what do I go YouTube. I'm going to go on YouTube and say how to be professional.
No.
How to.
But that's what I'm saying. You need a comprehensive list. You want to learn Excel. What do you want to learn? Or if it's just flexing the muscle of being more disciplined, of doing this, doing that, then you're right. Then that's a different thing. Okay.
Teamwork, seeing how a big machine works.
Mm-hmm.
other people's leadership styles.
Oh, that's completely different. Yeah.
I have very few engagement with other like higher leadership type of stuff.
I'm dead ass. We can work on your resume. I'm so serious because you have so many skills. So many skills. You're a marketer for Sable. We're not gonna do all this one here.
No, we're not. But let's go.
Yeah.
And if you're listening and you're hiring, let me get an interview, y'all.
That's not how it works.
Let me get an interview.
Or for you, I think it would work like that, honestly. So shout out to you.
Hit me, DM
oh my God. DM me. I need 401k.
I need a 401k. I need to be a part of the pings.
Watch you get a fucking better job than me. That's how it works. Somebody will be like, hey, we're hiring over here at, what's Issa Rae's joint? At radio, da-da-da-da. I'll be like, this is the bullshit. But I would be happy for you. My updates, I don't have many. I went to see my white family. I hope everybody enjoyed that. They tend to really... All right. Shanti's on one. I could tell, y'all. I could tell. She's on one on this episode. It's getting tricky already.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day. This is my first meal.
All I hear is that lettuce crunching.
It ain't even... I have a thing of greens in it, child. Those potato chips.
Oh, no. What is it? It's chips?
It's potato chips in my sandwich.
Potato chips in a sandwich. That's how you do it. All right. I went to see my white family. They're lovely humans. We had a blast. Just a blast. And it cracks me up. Every year I post it, and every year Amanda writes me, and it's like, I'm shocked and surprised every year when I see this. She's my best friend. She's like, every year I look at this and I'm just bewildered. It's just... It's just something to
you
see.
Really halfway.
And my family loves Shanti. They are all upset that she's never been.
I'm coming next year. Say less.
Don't say that, because my Aunt Barbara has said numerous times. She always says she's going to come. And I'm like, this time of year is a bad year for her.
Too. We coming.
You would be, everybody's really going to think I'm
It is my birthday. Your mom would give me a cake. She's very thoughtful.
Everybody would sing happy birthday to you at the party.
Ratano way too.
Yes.
With the blessed are you.
Yes, they would. Speaking of Black businesses and Bet on Black, I had that cream Earl Grey tea from Brooklyn Tea. This is not an ad. This is not an ad. That motherfucking tea has me in a chokehold. Specifically, the cream Earl Grey. It was sold out online. They've restocked. I got in my car and drove, Shanti. I bought it at Renee. Here we go.
Here we go.
Say Renee's name one more time. I bought it at Renee's holiday. She don't like to call it a bazaar anymore, but all right. What does she call it?
What's it called?
A bazaar.
Holiday event. What'd she say then? Don't get me to fucking us up. I done misplaced the brand she was activated for.
Anyway.
She did that. Holiday show.
So I got 2 boxes there. One box was supposed to be a gift. It's not. I'm busting it down. It's not a gift anymore. And then I got in the car and drove to Brooklyn Tea, to their location in Bed-Stuy, to get 12 ounces of this tea.
Talk about the notes. Tea. What are you getting from it? Cream.
Oh, I'm not good like that. I get that cream. First of all, you get that Earl Grey first. And then that cream hits second, and you're like, "Whoa, this is an experience in my mouth." And then at the very end, I added some agave to it. Then the agave
hint of sweet layers, complexity.
It is.
The owner really Ali is a tea sommelier. See, like he goes and all they do is talk about teas, herbs, leaves, growth, soil, complexity.
This is not an ad, but this is an ad. Y'all need to go ahead and get yourself some tea.
Jamila.
Brooklyn Tea. And speaking of that, cream Earl Grey is hitting, and I heard the hibiscus is fire as well. So
Bet on Black family.
Also, Beyonce's site is down.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
So we are all anticipating something, because Beyonce's site only goes down when she about to do some shit. So anything could happen. 12 o'clock comes, Beyonce could have a whole new album out. Who the fuck knows? We don't know.
Interesting.
But her site is down.
Leave us alone. Leave me alone, Becky.
No, don't leave me alone. Jesus is born. Oh, tricky. That's it though. That's all my updates for now. I'm so excited to take a break. I'm so excited for the holidays. I'm going on a little trip. First time traveling with Mandy. We gonna have fun.
We're gonna have so much fun.
I think we're gonna have so much fun.
Nervous for what? That girl is a guaranteed good time.
I know. We already found a video where she's like, we gotta recreate this. And it's like a girl reading in the pool and the girl behind her just losing her fucking mind with shots and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, that's you. I'll be reading and possibly crying. But very excited for that.
Shout out to you and your much needed reprieve.
Thank you. Wish you would come, but you said on an episode that you didn't want to travel with me, so that's fine.
I might change my mind.
Nah, you can't. You can't come now. We didn't book the room. We booked the
my own room.
Okay, book your own room, Queen. Come. Would you come? Can you come on? What's that from?
Let me find more deets. I'll slide through.
I'll send you the place.
I'll be in a poor place. I'll be in a poor Airbnb down the street from y'all. I will and love it.
Mandy will let you sleep with a floor. Like...
Hey.
No, that's not true. All right, come on. Can you ask people to rate and subscribe and share?
Y'all, this is near the end of the year. If you have been listening to us from the top of the year to now and you haven't rated, subscribed, commented, even if it's a harsh review, because we need y'all to speak y'all truth to us. We do read them. It does help us to self-reflect.
Subscribe to that. You can email us a harsh review. It does not have to be public.
I don't want y'all to self-edit for our egos because it's all ego anyway.
No, it's not ego. People look at that who want to possibly work with us and invest in us.
Well, we got 4.9, so we doing all right. All right, listen, Internet doesn't like that, so I apologize. But if you want to leave us only good reviews, only positive comments, please do so. And if you haven't yet, do it now. It helps build community. It helps build validity of our business and our brand and offers us more possibilities. We are aiming towards being self-sufficient and fully funded by this work. The more that we can afford it, the more we can show up and expand this podcast. We got shit inside of us ready to come out that we don't even know about yet. Only money can unlock it.
We got shit inside of us ready to come out.
We have magic inside of us ready to come out and be shared. The Lord knows it's an energetic exchange, and all it takes is a little comment, a little 5-star here and there.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Ooh, a little share,
rate, subscribe, tell your homies.
Amen.
Also, if you want to see my style, Antoinette's beautiful face. Antoinette looks gorgeous. If you want to see what she has on, I ain't even going to say what it is. You would have to be a patron. So consider becoming a patron on our Patreon. What is that, you ask? It is a visual subscription in which you can watch each podcast in real time, as well as extra content. We are going to be doing a little kiki and putting it on a Patreon, so a little something for y'all before the year's out. You will have access to that for the tiered paid subscription of $5, $7, or $10. So support us, support the cause. Get your whole life by seeing us in real action. And thank you to those that have already contributed. Big shout out to the gods, to the Dons, Amber, Hamid, Sassy, Justin, Ricky, Trayvon, Haley, Chriscala, Nelly, LL and Ashley,
Amen.
real ones, appreciate you. We really do. This goes a long way. So we're going to take a break and come back on the flip side with a special guest.
I think we're going to hot shit right before that, but...
Oh, forgive me. After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we are back. Hot shit. I'll start. Z-Wee. Do you know Z-Wee?
Z-Way?
Z-Way?
I love her.
Did you watch her thing with George Santos?
No, but I love everything she does. She's brilliant.
I'm so irritated that the only clip that's going around is the one time he got her. He got her.
What happened?
She tore him up on that. She is so smart, so charismatic. It's a 17-minute video, so you
not George Santos. What he do to her?
George Santos.
What a time those two together.
They were being shady towards one another, and he won one round, only one. But she kept telling him she kept telling him that he's iconic. She was like, say iconic. And he was like, iconic. And she was like, you're an icon. And he was like, I'm an icon. And she was like, icon. He was like, icon. She was like, icon. Icon, man. It was just so good. She's just so smart. It's just so, I want to be that shady and brilliant. And you know how she has that like just stare where she just that awkward pause. Oh man, everybody, you need to go if you want to feel good for 17 minutes. Go watch that.
Oh, I have to watch that. I thought she was canceled, so the fact that she's still out there is making me super excited.
Her YouTube channel, her show.
Okay,
she got her own empire over there.
I know that's right, girl. She was at Culture Con. I missed her.
Watch me work. You might cancel my show, but you forgot I got a whole thing
silence
going
me. Shout out. You can't see it today. I apologize. I don't know if I can actually recreate it, but I got my hair cut. Again, this is why I have money. And probably the reason why I don't have money is I invested. What I shared with everybody, it was a trifecta of me looking more like myself. It was my tattoos, it was my grills, and then it was my haircut. And I was going to do it by any means necessary. So the final ring on that trifecta was my haircut. And I went to Wash Day in Philly. It is a curly cut salon for curly hair girls. There's two stylists, the owner, Tori, and then Ruth. And I got my hair cut by Ruth. And I went in there. It's so cute. Like every single fixture in the shop has like a wave or something to it, and not like a corny way, because curls and the curly cues can go corny. It could go corny real fast. But she did it in such a tasteful way. Even the glasses, Antoinette, you would have loved them, or maybe not. They have like a little wave to them. Like they gave you water glasses and they were like cute little wavy, just cute little touches. And I learned that I was doing my hair wrong for years. I don't know if I believe it. It feels like it almost, because of my conditioning, it almost feels like flat earth theory, the shit that she was telling me. She was told me that oil's not good for my hair. What the fuck are you talking about? And she told me that I should be washing my hair twice a week. What, bro? And
they told me I'm supposed to wash my hair every day. That's what they told me. They touch my hair and they say, wash your hair every day. You tripping. You cannot have this built-up product in your hair.
Of product that she put in my hair, I never did that. Ever. I mean, you were actually the first person that always told me, like, whatever you put in your hair, you never put enough in. But I was shocked. And then I was shocked.
A lot of hair. You do put like a dime size. And I'm like, girl.
My hair's thinning now and I need to take some supplements for it. I'm concerned, actually, to be completely honest. And I'll talk about that in another episode. But the girl, it is not the same that it used to be. I am an older woman. And the results were resulting. It was a really cute cut. I have yet to have the time to try and recreate it. I tried one time and it failed. But But Antoinette talked me through. I called her a little upset. She was like, no, girl, you gotta. So I'm going to try it again. But to all those looking for a curly cut in the Philadelphia area, check them out.
What's the name of it?
Wash Day.
Oh, okay. That's
in
cute.
Philly. Wash Day Philly, really cute spot. Shout out to them. Oh, and then I have another thing. Y'all, Antoinette, I watched Leave the World Behind on Netflix. This is with Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, Ethan Hawke, Mahala, Farrah McKenzie, Kevin Bacon, and Charlie Evans. It's a psychological thriller. It's from the author Rumaan Alam. And Chad, it was executive produced by Barack and Michelle Obama, which is so interesting to me.
Because it's the end of the world kind of thing, right?
It's about the end of the world, but it's so connected to politics and social issues and
oh God, they
like all end of the world things. Humanity has to show up, and class and racism and politics and
they're warning us, Shanti.
Bitch.
They saying what they couldn't say when they was in the White House.
Antoinette.
Oh, it's over. I'm glad I got to love you. I do. I am.
Let's go to the woods. We got to get out
where
of the
they
city.
survive?
I don't know. I can't tell you the story. But
you might not know Excel, but I do believe you could survive.
I could not.
An apocalypse.
Antoinette.
You couldn't?
I'm in trouble too. I'm like, can we eat that? My dumb ass would be eating everything though. I'll taste it and make sure. We would be in so much trouble. No, Antoinette,
did you ever see the 100
know what
Games?
We did? Do you know what we did?
The little girl was about to eat them berries and die?
Yep. We went through, you and I, remember when we've been running a business with very, very different personalities?
Mm-hmm.
And we made it through the fucking
escape room.
We ain't fight either.
We didn't. We fought.
We had each other's back.
We fought.
But had it. I listened to you. You listened to me. I didn't even feel no tension with you. I was in it with you. I was like, "Yo, we gonna do this. Ain't nobody else I can do this with."
The only tension was with Black's dumbass just standing
with
around,
a nigga there,
not helping,
not figuring out, not offering, not connecting,
not doing
no dots.
Nothing. We had to tell him to do everything. Hold this.
Stupid. He didn't connect any dots.
I love him to death. But he claimed.
And then he was insecure about it a little bit. And so he was like, "Yo, this is dumb, y'all. This is stupid. I'm gonna let y'all cook." He is so much like ATL. It's not even funny.
He claims that it was because we were being too bossy. So he was like, I just disassociate and just let y'all do your thing. I was like, whatever. But I feel that we could make it.
Oh, I know it. Actually, that was who I definitely want you on my team. Where Antoinette at? I got to make it to New York. I got to get out. We got to have a meeting place.
We do. I think we have to have a meeting place. We have to have a whistle signal. I'm realizing in all these movies, there's some sort of sound. You know, Negan had the whistle. In the Hunger Games, they had the whistle thing. We have to have some sort of sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ew.
These chips and the mic ain't gonna work. And that yurt was crazy, but that's the best sound ever.
And but it's gonna be too many people saying that, so we're gonna get confused.
It's not. No, it's not. Not like that. I'm gonna know.
Anyway, y'all should watch it. I can't wait for you to watch it to see what you have to. We have to have like a little segment about this, but the themes of being sitting ducks, the things that triggered me, being a sitting duck, being unprepared, our relationship with control and uncertainty, and how dependent we are. How our every single move, survival is dependent on machines, technology. Oh,
let me tell you.
I was nauseated. I was like,
let me tell you.
I Googled, how do you not be attached to Google?
Shut up. Shut up. I was in Pittsburgh and my phone wouldn't turn on the day I was supposed to drive home. And I was like, Tina, go get your phone. I need to know how to do a hard reset. And I thought to myself, well, if this phone don't go on, baby, I can't look at a map.
How you getting home?
How I'm going to get home, child? Me can't do it. No. I was like, I can't do that. Tricky.
I hope you have time on this break to watch that and then
I'm gonna
spiral.
watch it. I'm gonna plan on watching it Friday.
Hot shit.
That was our hot shit. All right, y'all. You do politics as usual. Lead us in, Shanti.
I think it's important for us, if this is our last episode, but I wanted to make sure that we were centering certain political issue that's happening now, which I can feel myself going in and out of attention towards. That's not the right sentence structure, but you know what I mean. So I wanted to make sure that all of us continued discussing, continued uplifting, and talking about Palestine. And I have a special guest, Nehad. So without further ado, all right. And we have a special segment for politics for our end of the year, one of our end of the year episodes. And Antoinette and I felt that it was important to keep amplifying and bring attention to what's going on in Gaza. And I am fortunate enough to have very brilliant people in my life, very brilliant Palestinians in my life. And one of them is my friend Nehad Khadir. I did a bad job, but I'm going to try. And I tried. But Nehad is a friend of mine. She is a filmmaker, curator, editor, and writer whose work in film informs her work as a historian. She's trained in media and literature by Black and Palestinian creators. She is the festival director of Black Star Film Festival, which is no small title at all. Again, she is a friend, and after we did our best, Antoinette did so much research for our episode around the history of Palestine and Israel, and Nehad reached out, and she was like, you guys did a great job, but also there's a lot more that should be brought up, and I'm really, really honored, one, that especially in this tender moment that you have the capacity and the generosity to talk to us more and to share your experience so that people continue to bring their attention and, most importantly, their concern and action towards hopefully bringing some change or continuing to bring awareness around what's going on in Gaza. So, Nehad, you're also thousands of miles away. It's what, 11, 10, 30 where you are. So welcome. And again, thank you so much for being here.
The UK.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for coming on. Sorry.
Thank you. But I am a Philly girl. Yeah, just a little far these days. Yeah.
So much of your identity and who you are is informed by your Palestinian identity. Yes, you are a Philly girl, but it took you and your family so much to get to Philly and for you to have that title. Can you just share a little bit about your family's history so people can kind of understand the context from which you speak?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me on here. And I want to say that it is also a duty to keep talking about this and to keep fighting for the end of a genocide and the end of contemporary settler colonialism. But it's also an honor to be here with you. My family's history is very much tied up in the history that Antoinette had mentioned in the episode where, she delved really deeply into the history. But my family is indigenous to Palestine. We're from a village southeast of Haifa in the Carmel Mountains, which I think has some biblical significance for folks who know the Bible. But more importantly, it's now a destroyed village. My family has been there historically for a very long time. Even kind of genetically, we're from that region when we did testing. But also, in 1948, in January 1948, actually, an Israeli battalion of militia, so not yet military, not yet Israeli occupation forces, because the state of Israel didn't exist yet, but a militia came into the village and attempted to depopulate it, ethnically cleanse my people from their land. And at the time, in January 1948, my people fought back and were able to defeat that battalion. And a few months later, on May 15th, 1948, which is the date that the state of Israel was declared a state, the same battalion, or maybe not the same battalion actually, but a Zionist militia entered the village again. This time, they were more armed. They had been armed and trained by the British for decades at that point. They had put down Palestinian rebellion before. In 1936 to 1939, there was a revolt of peasants, of Palestinian peasants, against the British and the Zionists, because we were very aware from the late 1800s that there was a project, a colonial project that was coming to our land. And, the early Zionists called it colonialism. They called it the colonizing of Palestine.
They put it in that letter, right?
Absolutely.
What was that letter?
The Balfour Declaration, which is
Not that one. There was a letter in the late 1800s where there was
Jewish
some
state
letter. Yeah, okay.
I don't know the letter necessarily, but there is a manifesto that was written by Theodor Herzl, who's considered to be the father of contemporary political Zionism, called The Jewish State. And Ze'ev Jabotinsky, also another sort of contemporary founder of modern political Zionism, also called this a colonizing project, and they worked with the British, the greatest colonizers at the time, to gain a foothold in this land, and so, historically, lots of people sought refuge and safety in Palestine. I don't know if folks are aware of that. But Armenians escaped genocide and came to Palestine. Bosnians in the 1800s who were afraid of, there were the Austro-Hungarian wars. They requested to be relocated to a place where they felt safer. I mean, this is like 100 years before the genocide in Bosnia, and a lot of them came to Palestine. There's histories of even Muslims coming from all over the world wanting to be closer to the Dome of the Rock, Christians coming from all over the world wanting to be closer to the churches, the birthplace of Jesus, Jews coming from all over the world. But the issue with Zionism is that it wasn't an attempt to relocate to a land and to live among the people who were there. It was a colonial project that was an ethno-exclusive colonial project and saw the indigenous people as, outside of this colonizing project. And so what Israel is a settler colonial state, which is a particular type of settler colonialism that necessitates that the indigenous people are always dying and always disappearing in order to replace them entirely. And so that in 1948,
and Netanyahu actually, can I ask you a question really fast? Because I want to make sure I understand too. And Netanyahu actually, like, he's cited as like saying this, right? Like this has come from his, not recently, but like in like I don't know, maybe I've been reading up on this, maybe like 20 years ago, he actually said this out his mouth, right?
Absolutely.
About the ethnic cleansing
Yeah,
of
about the ethnic
these
cleansing
people.
and basically that Palestinians needed to go in order to make room, that they don't have value.
Yeah, this is not a secret in Israeli state politics or even in Israeli society. Unfortunately, it's not something that's quiet or under the radar. This is
It's brazen,
how
right?
it's absolutely brazen. It's
Yeah.
absolutely public. And fast forward to today. So what we talk about the ethnic cleansing of Palestine as the Nakba, but the Nakba was not an event in time. It's an ongoing event. It's an ongoing project that's still happening. And you can see, you can look at and consider what's happening in Gaza today as a continuation of the project of the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, the removal of all Palestinian people. And what law experts are saying now is that, you know, people are talking about genocide and how do you prove genocide? And one of the hardest things, I'm learning a lot about, you know, law and how this all functions. But what I've learned is one of the hardest things to prove in order to prove a genocide is intent, the intent to commit genocide. And in this case, its intent has been proven over and over again by the public statements that are coming out of the Zionist state, from the politicians, the military personnel, and on and on.
It's interesting that you talk about intent, and this is just an aside. I was watching Amal Clooney, she's like a humanitarian legal activist, and she's actually working with victims of the, oh God, who is it? Is it the Taliban? No, it's not. ISIS. Victims of ISIS who, um I forget who it is. The United something or other, not us, but like some United Nations kind of thing. They actually sued them. They actually sued a French company that directly supplied money and concrete to ISIS in order to build these tunnels where they were committing genocide. I forget against the people, I'm going to pronounce their names wrong, but one of the women actually won the Nobel Peace Prize and all that. And Amal Clooney is now stepping in and finding all of the people that have been displaced and helping them sue this company, because the company has been found liable and they admitted to it. And I was watching that program and thinking to myself, how are we not doing this for the people of Gaza? Like, how are we not doing this for the people of the West Bank? It's all documented history. And that's why I keep asking you about, like, people have said this, right? Because when I get into these conversations, I'm like, well, this is brazen. This isn't like something, because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you're liberal, you're this, you're that. That's your interpretation. It's like, that's not my interpretation. That's actually what people in the Israeli government, that's what they say, and that's like what they're standing by, right?
Absolutely. There's a deep intentionality
to me.
Yeah, there's a deep intentionality to it, and Palestinians have been fighting for our lives for 100 years at this point, right? And you know, it's important to also recognize that it's 100 years, not 1,000 years, not 500 years. This is not like ancient, you know, unresolvable, complicated. It's none of that. This is contemporary colonialism and 21st century genocide playing out on television.
It's easier to frame it as such, to frame it as this 1,000-year religious conflict, because that makes intent more difficult to prove. That makes people not want to get as involved and not see it for a land grab that it is. Yeah, that's such an important point. And again, I was traveling this weekend with folks, talking to people who I find to be very intelligent, highly intelligent, critical thinkers, liberal minded, and they rejected that idea so much based off of how we view Arab nations, and what's been painted over here is like these big bad Arabs want to, you know, blow you up because they hate your God or they hate this. And it's like, that's not it. And so I guess and I want to let you finish. Because you brought that up, it's like, how do we fix that messaging? Like, where do we start in that conversation? Because there's so much, you're just met with so much
Misinformation.
resistance
It's
and
not, it's
misinformation. Yeah.
misinformation. It's just like, okay, if you guys want to play by law, these are all the laws that are being broken. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about history, here are the clear facts in history. It's very similar to the way folks respond to the Black American experience. It's like this, they glaze over, and it's this um, rewritten history in a way. There's two different histories that are being told, and one is rooted in fact and often rooted in an oppressed experience, like real experience, and another is rooted in this denial and often um, this inability to be accountable to your racist ideas and the way that you want to hold on to the white supremacist like ideology of
And fruits of white supremacy that you
yeah, but
experience.
people, if that's not your baseline, if that's not your baseline understanding around power dynamics, around oppression, around colonialism, if you can't agree on this base fact, then I don't, there's history is rewritten, and there's two different narratives, which feels really, I think, disheartening and frustrating. And I feel like I think that's a way that so many oppressed people can connect with Palestinians in a way. Those that there is this opportunity for folks to unite and be like, oh, this same shit's happening to you as
Mm-hmm.
well. And if you could speak about that a little bit as well, because I think a lot of Black Americans in particular who are just understanding and learning about this may not understand those parallels, and how there is this underlying power dynamic, and that usurps law and usurps humanity in a way that we all have to like recognize and fight against. And like there's this bigger call for resistance, and that's why we can't forget, that's why we have to keep going.
You all touched on so much. I'm gonna try to be like
Sorry.
systemic. No, no, no.
There.
I'm gonna try to be systemic, but I think what you said about racialization and the Black American experience is so important, because in a lot of ways, I grew up in Philly. I grew up in Black community, and I learned about racialization in the United States before I understood it. I understood how it functions against Arabs and Palestinians and Muslims. And I'm watching this, now. And again, like also in the past, but really what racialization does is it's a systemic dehumanization of people. And it justifies that extrajudicial murder of certain people. And this is, we see it play out in the United States all the time. Like all the narratives that you'll hear when a Black person, man or woman, or non-binary or child, gets murdered, just the narrative around it is so absurd, and the way that the law functions is so absurd that we all understand the absurdity of it. And yet there's been a very systemic, this is what racialization does. It systemically dehumanizes us, to make it so that we're expected to die. We are expected to be killed. We are expected to suffer. We're expected to experience oppression. That's our experience. And, when you think about like the settler colonial framework, you think about the history of this country, particularly around land theft and around slavery. and you think about like the narratives of savagery, right? Like we read Black literature, and this is why, you know, I'm trained in literature and cinema, and I always go back to that because that's where narratives are formed. That's what's so foundational. And so, you know, reading Black literature, reading about the history of indigeneity, you understand like this language around savagery, this language around, you know, monsters, this, even if you think more contemporarily, this idea of a super predator, right? Like this is all part of that language of dehumanization. And Black people, Indigenous people, Palestinians are just as human as anybody else, right? Like, and we have such a depth of history, and we have such a depth of culture, and we love our people, and we love ourselves, and we love each other, and we take care of each other. And for people to decimate us like that, it's so infuriating. Yeah. And for the law to not even function appropriately, like where are the genocide conventions in this moment? What has been the writing of these? There's international law, there's human rights law, and none of it can be invoked because of this very long history of dehumanization. But it also comes back to this desire for our resources, labor resources, land resources, natural resources. And that's why, you know, one of the empowering things in this moment is to let this moment radicalize you. Let this moment be an education. I've been learning so much about the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've been learning so much about Haiti. I've been learning so much about Sudan, because I feel like these are all intrinsic processes of some form of colonialism, some form of dehumanization and abuse that allows this to continue happening. And so if Palestine can radicalize you in this moment and can make you consider how all of these places are connected, how all of the abusers are connected, you know, it is in the interest of the people who are producing weapons to keep you on the fence or neutral or unsure or believing that, oh, well, the Muslims are scary, the Palestinians are scary, they're predatory, they're, you know, all of these narratives that they've been spinning about my people, because the weapons that get tested on the people of Gaza right now, the weapons that get tested on the Palestinians who are in prison, those get used in the American prison system. Those get sent to Sudan for the ongoing war that's happening, the civil war that's unfolding, and an ongoing genocide as well. Those weapons, our weapons are flooding Haiti. So these are questions that we have to think about. That like, who is responsible for spinning these narratives, and what is it that they want? What are they benefiting and gaining off of this? And how big is the weapons industry? If there's an industry for weapons, it means that there always has to be weapons in use. These are very powerful people. And if their weapons aren't being used, they're not making money. So this is where drawing connections between us, as in how are our struggles connected? How have our people been similarly been dehumanized is going halfway. The other half is understanding how those systems that oppress us use that oppression to cyclically continue oppressing us. How they're making money off of our oppression is really important. When you figure out that the same surveillance systems that are used against Palestinian prisoners in Palestine are the same surveillance mechanisms that are being used against predominantly Black communities in the United States, the puzzle pieces start to fit in. And then you have to care, because you figure out that my liberation is intrinsically tied up in your liberation. And there's no two ways about that. So I think there is something, I think I keep thinking about Assata Shakur's It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. I feel like I'm understanding better what it means for that to be our duty. It's not just a thing, a fad, something that we can consider. No, she says it's our duty. I mean, that's a big statement. And I've been sitting with that and thinking about it and trying to I mean, I've read it so long ago, but right now it feels so much more, present and urgent, because I'm understanding what it means for that to be our duty.
You're talking about narratives. So today, again, some folks accused me of only seeing one side of this conflict and not trying to see another. And they were talking about, on 60 Minutes recently, they had I forget her name now, the Israeli hostage, one of the women who's been released. She was recently released. And she was talking about her experience. She was talking about how when she was captured, that when she was brought into Gaza, people cheered. They were banging on the trucks in celebration that she was there. She was fearful of being raped. There's reports that some women were raped, etc., etc. And so I made it a point to make sure that I watched and listened, because it's not that I don't think anyone on this call is not empathetic to what Israeli hostages are dealing with and all of the victims of what happened on the 7th, obviously. But I watched that and I thought to myself, more of that narrative, that savage Palestinian narrative, because the only place I see images of these abhorrent, like, Israeli soldiers celebrating, marching people through the street, the men through the street naked, killing unarmed Palestinians, just like in celebrating that, like very openly, brazen, egotistically. And I'm just like, this is not what's being covered. Now we slowly see some of the headlines, some of the narrative beginning to change. We see even Joe Biden, now he's speaking out a little more publicly about how Palestinian civilians need to be considered, or not Palestinian, he doesn't say that word. The citizens of Gaza, the civilians need to be considered. Israel needs to have more restraint, yada yada yada, right? While still supplying the weapons. And so he's doing this juggle of like,
double speak.
Netanyahu won't fuck this double speak, and also Netanyahu won't fucking listen. But I also can't afford to lose this ally because I need control in that area, and it's just all fucked up. But my main thing is this narrative, and that's where I'm like, how, when I speak about it, and I'm not effective. I'm not effective with people who don't agree with me or who aren't open to agreeing with me. And so I'm wondering if you are more effective, because I want to be more effective. And I truly don't know how to have a conversation with them besides literally taking my phone out and showing the images. Oh, well, that, Antoinette, it's war. It's terrible. It's all terrible. And it's just like, I'm not being effective. You're not even being open to what I'm saying. And you're not recognizing that this is strategic, the way that this narrative is playing out. This is all for a reason that we're fed this information and this propaganda. And while yes, it might be true, but there's also more information that
whole history. Yeah.
And not even history right now. And that's what I kept saying is like, I don't need to go back 100 years to show you how Israel has been killing, murdering, and been colonizing these people. We can go back to October 6th.
Yeah.
If you really want to talk about it, we can go back to yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's ongoing, and I'm just not effective in that. So I'm just wondering.
Great question.
What is the conversation? Can you solve all of this for us on this?
Sorry.
I just hurt myself.
I mean, I'm empathetic to your struggle, because I have no idea how to talk to people who have like a very basic, like have a baseline of dehumanizing people and believe that. I have no idea. I don't have a lot of people like that around me. If I do, they keep quiet. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think I do. I've always been so loud and proud around Palestine. And I feel like folks have, you know,
They've navigated that. Yeah.
or have,
Self-edited.
you know, or they've moved on, right? Like they've moved on. If because that's my humanity. And so if people have like a basic issue with seeing Palestinians as humans, they have a basic issue with seeing me as a human.
Right.
And so,
And I
you
feel it,
know,
but I feel that way about myself. That's how connected we
It
are. If
is.
you have
It's
a
they
baseline
Yeah, they
issue,
have the
seeing
same,
yeah,
yes, you
Palestinians
have
as
the same
human,
understanding of the black experience. And it's like,
exactly.
but I also think it's so dope. The universe is wild that it's like we have to unravel this thing.
yeah,
Your politics and what you actually believe, you cannot hide any longer. Like, we have to be 10 toes down. We have to understand exactly how my family, how this person feels. And they need to be stripped. We all need to be made vulnerable in a way to reconcile with what we believe, which is hard, which is sad, which is scary, which is a defining moment in people's families, friendships, love affairs, countries in so many ways. Yeah, that's
yeah.
it's crazy. I This is another hard question, but again, I think it is requiring us all to strip in a way, and the ultimate goal, the ultimate ask, the duty is action, right? On all different levels. And so we have this huge election coming up. And I felt so sick, even in Philly, in the mayor election for who I voted for. Because again, her politics, what she believes, what she supports, represents so much to me. And I'm talking about the Democrat candidate who was pro Israel, and was, 10 toes down and saying that in such a pivotal time. And I was sick, that there's this feeling of disempowerment. There's this feeling of nothing's going to change. And me, the way I'm set up is like, yo, fuck this. This isn't going to work. I'm not putting my energy. There has to be another way. And I'm wondering, similar to what you said about the ways in which you feel Palestinians feel abandoned and dismissed, and the entire world is turning their backs on them. How does that affect your politics and how you want to vote, and how you think that people can be immobilized in a way? To me, I just feel so hopeless, and I feel like, yo, this shit can't be real. This just can't be real. But
Yeah.
I know that you're and Antoinette are far more pragmatic and reasonable, and I'm just curious as to what the conversation is, in your life and in your heart
Well, I don't feel
around
abandoned
politics.
by, yeah, I don't feel abandoned by people. I
Okay,
feel abandoned by governments. I think Palestinians
that's what I meant.
definitely
I meant
feel
to say
abandoned.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I meant to say that.
completely, complete. I mean, by governments, by the law, by the structures, by the
Yeah,
United
yeah.
Nations. Like, nobody has power to step in during a genocide. And everybody after the fact, I know that 10 years from now, this is going to be basic. It's like apartheid. 10 years, you know, like when that shit fell, it was basic. Like everybody, I was in Johannesburg and there was a book. It was like the ABCs of apartheid. A was for apartheid, and they defined it as, and this was really funny, they defined it as a metaphysical impossibility because anybody you ask today was against apartheid back when it was happening,
Hmm.
right? Like, people participate in these systems of apartheid, systems of genocide, et cetera, but you make it immoral enough to the point where 10 years down the line, everybody is going to have been against the genocide. You're not going to find anybody, except today we have receipts because we have social media.
Exactly.
But everybody is going to fall in line at some point. And so I don't feel abandoned by people. I don't feel abandoned by, a lot of folks are doing their research right now, and they're allowing themselves also to learn about what else is happening in the world and to make it their business, to stop this ongoing genocide, to think about like, what are creative ways that I stop participating in buying a lot of new technologies so that I'm not supporting the genocide that's happening in Congo, right? Like, so we're all thinking about these things right now. And that's what I hold on to, because I need something to hold on to. I think I can't imagine what it's like to be in Gaza right now. I go to sleep thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. Everything in my day makes me think about, like, what would it be like if I were in Gaza right now? I mean, when you go to the bathroom, you think, like, what is it like for people to find bathrooms in?
They can't.
They can't. They can't.
They are at more risk of dying from disease now than dying from these airstrikes.
I was going to say, Dr. Darian Sutton on Instagram just did a really clear, post about, very just detailing. I mean, aside from all the doctors in Gaza who've been talking about it and the physicians all over the world, but like, this is more proof of genocide. Like, this is how disease was weaponized in North America to decimate indigenous communities here. I mean, there's so much of it is hopeless. Shanti, I'm so sorry. I'm like going down the hopeless path again. But I think like we have each other. And that's what people send me, these messages of solidarity. And I feel like all of us are Palestinian at this point. All of us who care about this. I've never felt like there were more Palestinians around me than now. People just continue to push. And I saw CNN do a report yesterday. I was like, I can't believe this is CNN. Why is CNN doing a report?
Because CNN now.
They're going to lose
CNN.
They're going to lose viewers. They're going to lose money.
Baby.
Because why do you think, Antoinette? I'm curious.
Israel. What? They
Absolutely.
are child. Ask Mark Lamont Hill why. They got his ass the fuck out of there. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Absolutely.
Walt Blitzer, he was on some Zionist, in some Zionist group. Proud Zionist.
Absolutely.
That was me.
And yet they're falling in, even CNN is falling in line to a degree. But I think that's because it's becoming immoral. Like,
it's because of us. It's because of all the
exactly.
people
We're pushing
out and demanding it. Yeah.
We're
shining
pushing
a light.
It's too slow, and the governments aren't responding. The U.S. Congress, I mean, I'm like, y'all are unmoved, completely unmoved. And part of me, Shanti, the hopelessness,
the staff are walking out. The U.S. the staff
they're
are
organized,
walking out and putting pressure on them.
Absolutely.
So we have to keep this up. I'm sorry, I'll shut up.
No. I mean, you're right. Like, thank you for bringing the hope back into it, because we need it. We need that. It's not fast enough for what people in Gaza need right now. And I feel like we're failing them every day. I feel like I'm failing them every day. I think people every day, everywhere feel that. And at the same time, there's a shift that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. So I don't know. I mean, I think, the U.S. politics have to change. Like that is where, that's the real power. But we have power too. It's slower, but we
have a ton of power, especially in an election year. These Democrats are scared shitless to lose their quote unquote democracy to Trump. And if they keep seeing these numbers fall for Biden, and a large part of it is based off of his age, a large part of it is based off of the economy, which I looked at my 401k, that shit booming now. And then a large part of it is based off of his response to this conflict. And that's young people. And something else that people need to understand, the more and more you see these, these college presidents being bombarded unfairly. I mean, that was a setup, the way that hearing went on Congress. The more you see that, you have to realize these young people who are able to vote now, they've only known a Netanyahu Israel. They don't know anything else besides this very far left, far right approach. This very, I don't have the words, but this, what is it? Radical approach to fuck Palestinians. And these young people have power, and these young people have energy. And so that energy can't just be on social media and in the marches. That's great, but you have to mobilize with your vote. You have to threaten their votes, and they will shift. And we're seeing the proof of that. The fact that Biden came out and said what he said against Netanyahu and how Netanyahu is handling this now, that shit was all happening behind the scenes with the Secretary of State. But you better believe it, because they did not want this, and they don't want a larger conflict. But now that Netanyahu is not listening, then you take the next step of coming out publicly. And now you do have Congress people speaking out and saying, what's the plan here? And how Biden knows that this could be the defining factor of his presidency, how he handles this. And everyone's watching. I wouldn't want to be in his position, but this is where, instead of hope, I don't offer hope, because I think humanity is fucked, and every day I'm saddened by the way that we operate. But I do offer activation. I do challenge that.
Yeah.
And whatever we can do, we need to do, whether it's coming on this podcast and talking. If that's what we can do, that's what we can do. If you have the time to go out and organize, go do that, but do something. That's just where I'm at.
And money. There's a Baltimore rapper. Divest, boycott, like your money, that's your vote, and it's a holiday season, and think about like where you're putting your money, and think about where you're not going to put your money. There's a Baltimore rapper. I'm not remembering his name right now, but he says, hit them with the pockets and they'll meet with you tonight. Right? Like that's what matters. And I don't want to live in a world where the bottom line is the dollar. I don't like that. But currently it is.
You do.
I hope hope we can change that. But that's the world we live in right now.
People are building weapons to make money. Well, guess what? Montgomery bus boycott, we got some laws changed based off the fact that we not riding your fucking buses.
Absolutely.
So if it's money, we'll meet you there. And the black and brown dollar in this country speaks volumes.
Which demands a deeply personal self-audit and like priority. And then this idea of duty, vigilance. Then it becomes this personal decision making that we all have to reckon with, and we all have to be accountable.
And a general understanding of what the businesses, people don't know where certain businesses stand.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you go and you get something and it's out of habit, and then you find out like, oh shit, this is what?
Yeah.
Like how I was driving a 9-hour drive, about to fall asleep, wanted Starbucks so bad, wanted that chai tea latte, I had to go get a Red Bull. And I thought to myself, I don't know if Red Bull is a fucked up company either. They are all fucked up. But in this moment, I can't support Starbucks, so I'll go here. But do you have a resource where people can find the different businesses where we can divest or we can support, like, or maybe you can follow up with us, or we can? I've looked, and I'm falling on social media posts that I don't always trust.
Yeah, I can send you the best resource that has like the trusted, like targeted boycotts, and that could be something you could maybe put into the description.
The description, great. That would be great.
Yeah,
I do want to ask you, because I'm reading the 100 Years War on Palestine, the history of the settler colonialism and resistance, right, by Rashid Khalidi. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, my former boss, actually.
Right. I saw your face. Is that your former boss?
Yeah.
I hope he was a good one. Don't be tricky, Rashid. But I want to ask you, what are some of the things that we got wrong, that I got wrong, that you want to clarify on here? I think it's very important, because I said as a disclaimer, I did my best, but this is a lot. And I know I got some stuff wrong. So if you could clarify or do your thing, that would be really great.
I think the most important thing is the clarity with which what was happening before 1948, from the late 1800s until 1948, was a settler colonial movement. And that the folks who were coming, the settlers who were coming from Europe, were well aware that they were taking other folks' land. That was clear to them, and it was clear to the Palestinians as well, to the indigenous people, what was happening. What the power, the disproportionate power was in the fact that the colonizers were being trained and funded by the British, whereas the indigenous people were not. And then also, when the UN in 1947 came and said, we'll split this land, we'll do it was a 40 something percent and a 53% split. You're talking about a land that the Palestinians owned. This is Palestinian land. So splitting it in half is an injustice.
Still taking my land.
Right? Yeah. It's a complete, people are like, well, it was going to half and half. And it's like, well, how are you going to take 50% of my land? Like, it's my land. It's my land. And over the past hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, many people have come to this. The history of the planet, the history of human existence is the history of migration. People have migrated in and out of places, and before borders, people were coming and going everywhere as they pleased. And a lot of people came to Palestine because they wanted to be closer to whatever holy site that they were interested in, whether they were Jews or whether they were Jews or Muslims or Christians. They wanted to be closer to their holy sites. And so it attracted a lot of different people. A lot of people came to be safer from wherever they were. But the Zionist movement in particular was not accidental in the way that it was taking land. And also the ethnic cleansing, it didn't start in 1947. So this is a mistake that I think people generally talk about, that like 1948 was an ethnic cleansing. The ethnic cleansing started well before that. People were being dispossessed of their lands from the late 1800s onwards. Late 1947 to early 1949 was a concentrated period of ethnic cleansing. And it was done through also it was something called Plan D. It was a military strategy by the Zionist militias. And there are Israeli historians who have documented this. And I will say that both Benny Morris, who is a Zionist, and Ilan Pappé, who is an anti-Zionist, both Israeli historians, because they're the ones with access to the documents, they both say that there was a systemic ethnic cleansing that happened at that time. And that Plan D was Ben-Gurion's, who was the first prime minister of Israel, was his sort of planned and systemic way of getting rid of, at the time it was 800,000 Palestinians. That was the wave with which my family was ethnically cleansed, expelled from Palestine. And so really just the intentionality behind the expulsion of the Palestinian people and their dispossession. And then what happened after that, after 1948, is that the borders were closed to Palestinians. Until today, the vast majority of Palestinians, the vast majority, cannot enter Palestine because they've become refugees, and they have refugee status, and that refugee status prohibits them from entering Palestine. So like, this is a intentional process of ethnic cleansing, because if the Palestinians come back, It's if you give Palestinians a vote, this is, a lot of what people want now, Palestinians, is one state solution. This is like, you hear this a lot.
Number of them.
It can. I mean, one state.
It can, but I'm saying Israel will never have it.
I don't know, because if you give everybody a vote, the Palestinians want one state that is a secular state, and I can't say this is kind of the Palestinian the solution that a lot of Palestinians hold near and dear. One state, secular, one vote for every person. I mean, imagine if it was a secular place, if it was a place where people who are dedicated to the holiness of this land, I'm not even talking about its religiosity. I'm talking about like the holiness of every land and the holiness of every people. If every person had a vote to make this form of self-determination, if we removed settlements, if we removed walls, if we removed checkpoints, if 2.2 million people were not stuck in Gaza, 80% of them, their homes are in what we call 48 Palestine, which is today, considered widely to be Israel. Those folks shouldn't be in Gaza. Their lands are inaccessible to them. They're right there, but completely inaccessible to them. So the ongoing dispossession of Palestinians is just as intentional as the original ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. None of it was by accident. None of it just sort of happened. Just as much as the ethnic cleansing in the United States, in North America, was fully intentional as well. Yeah. This is just a 21st century version of it. Unfortunately, with like really, the war crimes are just innumerable at this point in Gaza and in the West Bank, frankly. We're not talking a lot about the West Bank, but yeah.
Nehad, thank you so very much for coming on and sharing with us your brilliance. And I hope that you don't go to bed thinking that you're failing your people, because you're not by any means. I think that this is a matter of the heart in a lot of ways. Again, we can talk about facts and figures. You can lay out everything, but it's really a call for people's heart to be broken in a specific way and to really unite as one. It's a call for humanity. Right. And unfortunately, we have no power over that process. But I thank you. We have learned so much. I've learned so much. And it's, again, a call for me to see my humanity in the Palestinian folks, and my liberation in the Palestinian folks, and my accountability to that. And that it's a slow process. It's a slow process, and it breaks your heart, and it's hard, and I'm sorry. And I just hope you're feeling loved up on by the people around you, and you have so many folks in your life that are so close to that nightmare. And I just can't imagine, but sending you lots of love. And thank you for sharing. Thank you, Antoinette, for all the work that you've put into sharing this story and amplifying it for people. And I hope that we all just keep on learning, and even deeper than that, unlearning so much darkness. It's dark. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's like it's a dark energy that can't hide anymore. It just can't hide. And yeah.
Before you go, I don't know do you want anyone to follow you? Do you want our list to share where our listeners can find you? If you want, you don't have to.
Or folks that you want to be followed, representatives?
Yes, there are. There are so many Palestinians in Gaza who we should be following. Bisan, Aude, whose handle is wizard_bisan, BISAN1. Motaz Azaize, Motaz Azaiza, something like that. I'll send their
the list
info.
and we'll put it in. Both of those folks I'm familiar with as well. And
a few others. But I also really, first, thank you both so much. I'm sorry if I talked a lot or went over time. I want to give the biggest shout out to the Black American internationalist tradition and the Black American radical tradition, because that has been the biggest source of education for me growing up historically, just as much as the Palestinian radical tradition, the Palestinian movement has been an education for me. I think Black America has so much that it's untangled and analyzed and taught all of us. So I just want to give credit where it's due. And that is really a source of education and can continue to be for all of us as well.
Word.
Heard you.
All right. Tell everybody I said hey. And we'll connect after this. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you.
That was wonderful. That feels good. In this clip, in this episode, as stated before, we are going to include all of the resources that Nehad mentioned, as well as the Palestinians that are in Gaza, trapped in Gaza, and are documenting moment by moment and sharing, again, the facts and the actual experiences of the Palestinians in this moment for you to follow and for you to turn to for information. Yeah. So check out for that.
Thank you so much for bringing her on. She's incredible. Okay. Well, pop culture, y'all. Today is Monday, December 18th.
Ciao.
A little earlier, sentencing came in for Jonathan Majors. The jury found Jonathan Majors guilty of assault in the 3rd degree and harassment in the 2nd degree. This is 1 misdemeanor and 1 violation. So, assault in the 3rd degree is the lowest tier of assault charges. It occurs when someone inflicts physical injury, a bodily impairment, or substantial pain to another person or on another person. The injury can be intentionally inflicted, but it can also result from reckless or criminal negligence. I'll be really clear here.
Yep.
I was disheartened by the clickbait headlines of many media sources, many of which deleted their initial tweets on Twitter after people wrote under there, "This is so misleading." This is so misleading, the way that you've positioned this.
The guilty, Jonathan Majors guilty.
Jonathan Majors guilty of assaulting girlfriend, right? While he is guilty, yes, of a 3rd degree harassment charge, he is not guilty of the following charges. Hold on, let me find that shit. He was found not guilty of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and not guilty of aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. Aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree is a New York crime that punishes individuals who engage in certain actions that are intended to annoy, threaten, or cause another person fear for their safety. Okay? So basically, what it seems like is that the jury split the baby here and said, all right, you did some shit, bro. Now, we don't know if you intended to do it, but something was wrong with that girl, and you're somehow liable in this. So intention is really important, I think, in this. And while he is absolutely guilty of these charges because he was found guilty of them, it also said it didn't clarify that one of the charges is not even a misdemeanor. It's literally a violation. So here we are, and I'm sitting here, and I looked on Twitter, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to say this because I know what I'm going to get accused of. But I said, what did I say? Hold on, because I'm going to read it verbatim. Because I just, it was bothering me. And I said, y'all realize these are misdemeanor charges, right? Not caping. More confused on how little folks take time to read before responding. Because everybody's just reposting like, damn, this nigga's out of here.
That's what I thought.
Throw him in jail, right? And that's when I sent you those 2 articles. I'm sure, and in my review of it, because I kept thinking to myself, well, was he found guilty on all the charges? What are the assault charges?
What were the charges?
Because assault sounds like, oh, you punch somebody in the face. That's how we see it. But a 3rd degree assault is not necessarily that. I didn't
even know that existed, Internet. A 3rd degree assault.
Right. Because they didn't even say what charges he was, not in the headline. You know, the headline is supposed to be clickbait, but so many people now don't even click. They just read the headline, repost it, talk their shit, and keep going. This is obviously not what the defense wanted. They said that they were disheartened. His defense attorney did release a statement. I can read that too, because I don't want to be accused of no bullshit. Because I'm going to say how I feel in a bit, but let me read that junk. She said, it's clear that the jury did not believe Grace Jabari's story of what happened in the SUV because they found that Mr. Majors did not intentionally cause any injuries to her. We are grateful for that. We are disappointed, however, that despite not believing Ms. Jabari, the jury nevertheless found that Mr. Majors was somehow reckless while she was attacking him. Mr. Majors is grateful to God, his family, his friends, and his fans for their love and support during these harrowing 8 months. You know, yada, yada, yada. He looks forward to fully clearing his name. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the audio that came out where, you know, I don't know what that thumb is, but it's bothering me. The audio that came out, the text. The audio that came out that actually, well, first, the audio that actually gave us more insight into the Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama conversation. The texts, right, that were revealed, where he definitely seemed like he was covering something up. When those texts came out, it just felt like he's fucking guilty. That's it. Then the Michelle Obama stuff came out, and that was funny. Ha ha ha. People had a good time with it. Then the video came out, and people were like, wait. Hold up.
Finger running.
He running for his life. And she seemed like the aggressor in the video to most people. Disney responded, he's out.
Damn.
He's done.
Damn.
They've dropped him from the whole Kang thing. I don't even know if they're going to continue the Kang storyline because Disney has been struggling lately. They've been seeing terrible numbers at the box office.
Yep.
And so they might just go in a whole other direction than the Kang direction. Some people are like, nah, Damson about to get their role. Who knows? What are your thoughts? I will be honest and say this made me sad. And it's not that I don't believe this woman and I don't believe women when they say that they're victims of assault. I don't know what to believe. All I know is I felt like I had a personal stake in his success. I was personally invested. I wanted to see him win. We've talked about that before. And I feel like there's so far and few of Black actors who make it into that A-list space, who are revered for their skill, you know, who are revered for their talent, and who I actually think deserve it based off of their talent. And I just wanted to protect that. I wanted to see that blossom. I don't feel wrong for that. I don't feel wrong for that. It's disappointing. And it's like, damn, John, damn. And it's also deeply conflicting because so many people are really divided on this. A lot of people, men and women, are like, how the fuck does he get, you know, any guilty charges for that? Because I don't give a fuck what those text messages say. Those text messages are from a prior incident that has nothing to do with the charges that he's being brought up on, which is this SUV incident. That's what they're saying. And they're saying legally, that doesn't, they have, the prosecution did not prove their case. Other people are like, no, that absolutely shows a pattern, that shows who he is, that shows that this relationship was toxic. This relationship, you know, it seems that both of them have problems that they need to work out, but that he was the aggressor. He shouldn't have thrown her in that SUV. He's an actor. We don't believe the whole 911 call either about how nervous he was. There's a lot of people that feel like that. And then there's people who are reposting this saying, oh, he's going to jail. And I'm like, he's not going to jail. He get probation and a hefty fine as a community service. He's not going to jail based off of these little baby charges.
I mean, the biggest, the most punitive loss is
his name,
his career, his name, his reputation.
Yeah. There are people, though, who have, and now here's the other conversation. I don't know the man's name, white guy or white presenting man, who he's not a part of Disney, but he is a part of the DC world with Warner Brothers. He has horrific accusations against him of kidnapping,
recently, or of the past?
This is recent.
These are recent accusations?
I think the accusations are, I don't know his name. Google that. DC star. What's his name? I had it up too. Sex trafficking. And people are like, well, he kept his job. He chilling.
Ezra?
Yes. So, but that's not Disney. That's a whole different, West Warner Brothers. I don't know if Disney has other problematic people in their stuff, but people are like, you know, this is fucked up. I mean, look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has been accused of all kinds of shit, and we've somehow forgiven him, and he's back in our good graces. So is there hope? And should there be? That's the thing. What is the pathway forward for Jonathan? Because I personally don't want to just cancel him. I'm tired of that. That's not helpful. And maybe I'm biased because I actually really want to see him win and really want to see him get whatever help it is that he needs. And he's 32 years old. He presents like an older man. He's 32. And it's just like, there's got to be some space for him to fucking learn, right? Because I believe he's not innocent.
It's interesting. It's interesting. They're interesting statements that you're making. I too feel sad. I feel. I don't know what the sentiment is. Damn. I don't know what that sentiment is. Damn. Because he was at a precipice. He was not fully blossomed. He's a beautiful being. He is physically and presented, so much potential. And hearing his own plans for himself and what he thought he represented to his community, and what he thought he was going to be able to accomplish.
Trip,
Still, you know what I mean? I think a part of that we all have as well. Whenever there is anybody that is Black, that is in the public eye, that's doing very, very well, there is this, I'm rooting for you. You do represent excellence. You do represent the community. I don't know how off he was, maybe because he's saying it. That's
maybe you're right.
That's it. But I just think it's very curious how we, and understandable, and I'm in no place separating myself from this as well, but it's just really curious how we pick and choose who is deserving of redemption and understanding that their whatever error, whatever abuse or harm they've caused is because of it can be corrected and should be corrected. And because he hasn't, for instance, I know this is a very huge extreme, and maybe this isn't the I understand that it's a huge extreme, but I think that there's something interesting, our collective empathy and this idea of restorative justice, like an R. Kelly, that type of level of harm, and then this level of harm.
He takes no accountability for
But
it.
I don't know that what's his name did either. Has he taken accountability? He's like, I ain't do nothing. Again, I don't have an anger problem. I don't have a history of abuse at all. I wonder what had happened if he he's
admitted to having an anger issue.
I feel sorry for him, but I also understand, and I think that the jury made the right decision, because I don't think that he walked out of there having not done anything.
I agree.
And I think the prior texts, although maybe they can't be used as evidence in this situation, can't be denied that there is a pattern there.
But can I just interject? It's not about how we feel about it and what we think. It's about the burden is on the prosecution to prove their case. That's what people are saying. And if this was a white person, the prosecution probably wouldn't have proven their case. It's not it's the burden of proof.
That's what you do. It's a race thing now. I didn't know that.
Well, that's what they're. Yeah, that's part of it. Is that the burden of proof is always on the prosecution. The defense just has to defend itself. The prosecution is supposed to prove without a reasonable doubt. And what people are saying is there is reasonable doubt in this case. A ton of it. Her story changed. The video comes out. Like she went out that night. She doesn't appear to be injured. There's reasonable doubt here. And that's what people are saying. You think whether he is problematic or not, they didn't prove their case. And if this was a white person, they wouldn't have been charged. That's what some people are saying.
Oh, well,
when you look at it as in legal terms,
I think I would probably feel I don't know.
I'm just and I'm not saying I agree with that.
If I were in a jury, like, I would feel like, it all feels wild. It all feels like it was a wild night with two people that were fueled and not making sense. Toxic relationships, I think, are, a lot of nonsensical shit can go down. But
and I agree with you. I don't know how you sit on a jury and you don't go with how you feel. I'd be a little swayed by those texts as well, if I'm being completely honest. But you're supposed and you're coached on a jury to only look at it in the lens of the law. And I don't know. That shit's bullshit. I don't know. But the R. Kelly thing, to me, it's just, I don't know that they're comparable. I don't know that the offenses are comparable. I don't know if, and I'm not at all trying to minimize what happened to this woman. I don't know if a scratch behind the ear and emotional abuse is comparable to sex trafficking, rape, and not years of it.
No, not the acts of it per se, but this idea of this person is unwell and needs help, and we should help him as well as have him be held accountable by the legal system.
Because he's not a repeat offender yet. R. Kelly is a repeat offender who still won't take accountability. I might feel different if 2 years from now the same shit comes up with Jonathan Majors and he's still denying it. And then it's proven again and then again, and he's just getting away with it. R. Kelly was just getting away with it. To me there has to be some space for folks, for redemption, for folks who are early on and who are not just these repeat offenders.
Right. R. Kelly's not a good example. He's too much of the devil. He's too black in the white and black of the thing. But I'm not, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate. I think that I'm more swayed that should be a part of the discourse and the conversation all the time of like, what's good with this person? What is the underlying cause for the harm that they have created? How can we do something more than completely trash their name and their careers. I
And
say that
throw them
also, but then
away.
we talk about Diddy. Also,
Another
I'm
one,
just holding
repeat
my
offender. Repeat offender. Repeat
Still,
fucking offender who takes zero accountability.
I don't know if we don't know what's going on with Jonathan Majors. We don't know what the
with the
who he's
information
been
that we
engaged
do
with.
have. You're right, we don't know. But with the information, that's why I can only base what I'm saying based off the information that we do have. Again, this may shift. And Jonathan and Diddy is 50 something years old. Jonathan Majors is not that. This may shift if more information comes out, more women come out, more this come out, and this is a pattern.
Which
and
makes
it's like,
him
all right,
more,
bro, you need to get help. Don't do it anymore. Like, what the fuck? Or like, if more heinous stuff comes out, it's different. Things change.
why? That's my question: is why? Why is it that if there's a child that is, one kid smacks another kid and another kid, is slamming another kid's head into a wall, which one are you going to be like, yo, this kid really needs attention? Like, we have to figure out a way to...
Both of them.
But I think the collective conversation, especially around men and harm, is like, oh, get this nigga, throw him away. He's dead. He's canceled. It's unredeemable. I don't have the answers. I can't sit here and even say that I don't instinctively think for Diddy, for R. Kelly, that my instinct is like, oh, they're trash. They're terrible.
Because for me, there's no reverence in them. I don't get any self-reflection in them. I don't see that in them. I see that in a Mike Tyson.
You see that in Jonathan Majors?
That's a better thing. I don't know yet because it's the first fucking time. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I see performative shit in Jonathan Majors, and I hope that somebody can talk to him and hopefully get him the help that he needs. And I'm rooting for that to be a possibility.
Oh, because I don't see that.
If he continues to do the same shit, then it's like, ugh, come on, bro. But a Mike Tyson is someone who, in my opinion, I believe has caused many people harm. Mike Tyson is someone who's done deep work on himself to stop causing said harm or to cause less harm. Mm-hmm. And I see there's something where he's still connected to his humanity in a way that I think is redeemable. But that it's all so personal. And when you say collectively, that's where it gets very hard because it's so personal. I don't know how we make these decisions as a community. I mean, we have laws, right? Okay. But even in the laws, there's certain people, depending on the narrative, depending on how good your lawyer is, mm-hmm. depending on how believable him and Megan Good could have been, him coming in with a fucking Bible and holding it with his mom. Yeah, shit like that I'm sure didn't help the jury. It didn't, but maybe he's all, I've heard him on interviews years ago before all this talking about his faith. And coming up in the South and growing up with church. So maybe that is a practice of his, but to us it doesn't read because now, it's all about the narrative. It's very tricky, but does the Mike Tyson thing make sense where it's like there's a redeeming quality because he humbled himself in a way and he openly talks about it.
I think that although I cannot understanding all across the board, there is a redeeming possibility for all of them.
No, I don't have it for...
I do. I think that there is a redeeming possibility for R. Kelly. I think there's a redeeming there has to be.
I think it's in there, but they're not tapped into it, so I don't have space for it.
Well, I do, and I think there's people that have even greater space for it than I do. And I see it as a possibility, and I see that it is possible, and that I'm not the one to do that work, but there are people that are built for that. And there are people that have, similar to Mike Tyson, have done terrible, disgraceful, despicable things. And
Negan
have...
That's an example, though.
I mean, that's what grace is. That's what miracles are. That's what the hope of so much religion and Christianity. Like, I am a sinful person and I can be renewed, and God's love or this spiritual law is bigger than my negotiations of what's right and what's wrong, and I can find redemption.
You gotta get on your knees. You gotta get on your knees and humble yourself. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that they deserve that from the public. That's their own work. But I think that we collectively don't offer that space for folks. It's like, I'm throwing the key away, you're done, you do that work by yourself. And I don't know if that work is possible by yourself. It's such hard work that they're with all type of all type of redemption, I think it can be done in relationship and should be done in relationship, because
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, I want to make what I'm saying clear. If R. Kelly came out and said, okay, I did all that shit, it was terrible. R. Kelly has a lot of childhood trauma. I need help. I would say we need to help him. I really would. So we need to give him help. He's ready to do the work, so we should help him. And whether or not people can accept that is a different thing. But we need to offer him some resources. Truly. But as long as he doesn't say that, that's all I'm saying. I ain't got it for him.
And what I'm saying, oftentimes it takes
somebody to go first.
We don't have in our justice system, we don't have that type of redemptive practice. You're siloed, you're away, you're bad, you figure it out on your own, when these people often need the most type of care, like relentlessly showing up for them in a way that's like, do you see yourself? Can you see yourself for who you really are? But it ain't me.
Do you do that with Hitler? Like, where's the line? That's the thing. That's what's so interesting.
Well, I think that's where Christianity and this power of grace, and I mean, we are in the face of.
But Christians still got a hell, baby.
Terror, forever, ever. You in that bitch forever.
That's what I'm saying. So make it make sense. That's why I'm like, where's
we ain't gonna go into that because I can't make it make sense.
It's Christmas now.
But what I do believe in the power of grace. I do. I think that, and we don't have a real understanding of what grace means and what redemption means and what miracles are, aside from like, besides like this material thing, when real miracles are like this transformation. And we don't have public conversations around it. Our ideas of miracles, grace are deeply connected to materialism in a lot of way, and like versus like, oh no, there was this person who was a really dark person and they were forgiven, like there's mothers whose children are murdered and they go to that murderer. I'll never forget this Muslim woman. Her son was murdered and she went in front of a juror, and said that she was going to visit that murderer regularly. She was going to be in relationship with him regularly because she knew that there was some possibility for redemption and that she forgave him. And I'll find that clip somewhere. But like that type of shit is like, I don't know if I could do it, but it's there and it's powerful and it changes lives. Anyway.
What do you do if you're Megan Good?
You don't do it. I don't know, girl.
I didn't realize the age difference between them. I kind of love it.
What is the age difference?
She's 43.
How did they get together? I need to understand.
Girl, she was texting him in that car.
She was Cleopatra?
Probably. Who knows? But you really think it's some woman named Cleopatra texted him? He put that girl name in there as Cleopatra. Child. I make it. This is all a lie.
Misinformation.
I don't know nobody. But come on. A lot of people think that. Like,
what do you think? What? I mean, Coretta. She his Coretta. That's a
Listen,
Coretta.
all I saw was that clip where she came out and that one piece of her braid was sticking out, and he did not fix it. He did took her hair all out the
Was that
coat and everything
intentional
else.
though? I was like, girl, was that a style?
No, it wasn't intentional. It fell out. Even there's something about them. I don't know. I
don't feel right, right?
No.
It ain't right.
It feels like maybe they were trying to control a narrative. He didn't have a good lawyer either. I didn't love his lawyer. I don't know if I'm Megan Good. If I'm in it, and I'm looking at these charges, I'm like, you about to get probation. You be all right. And if I love him to death, to life, then maybe I probably stay. And he got to get help. He has to be in all the counseling. Ain't no way I'm about to go and deal with that bullshit. But also, maybe Megan and all the parameters that he had for Jabari that didn't work. That didn't work with who Jabari was. And they were trying to make that square fit in that circle.
Talk about it.
Maybe it works for Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Megan's like, hell yeah, I'll be Coretta. And hell yeah, I will represent you right. And I'm not going to be out here drinking. I'm sitting here with my Bible. What you talking about? I'm trying to be...
Not even an option. We got a plan. 5 years, 10 years,
right?
15.
Maybe all of that works. Maybe there's certain women, I don't know, but he based off of those text messages. He was suicidal. He said it in those messages. I'm hoping that he gets the help that he needs. I'm hoping this girl Jabari, I hope she goes back to Europe, because these people are not going to be forgiving towards her here.
She said, I hope she goes back to Europe.
I do. I'm really serious. These people are tearing her up on social media. And what life does she have here? They're going to tear her up. I feel sorry for her.
How vindicated? Vindicated?
I don't know if she feels vindicated.
How she must have felt something to make this public and not to be like, actually, I'm not going to move forward.
Do you think
with
she
this.
feels vindicated right now?
I don't know what vindicated means.
Yes, you do. Vindicated.
I just said
vindicated means like you feel some sort of resolve. You feel like your point was proven. You feel like, what is the definition?
Show or prove to be right, reasonable, or justified.
I don't know if these charges and what he wasn't charged of, it doesn't feel like vindication. It kind of feels like if he wanted to go back and press charges against her, he probably could, and he could probably get the same result if he really wanted to. But that doesn't make sense because it keeps his name in the public and messes with his career more. I don't know if she would feel vindicated. She probably just feels so fucking embarrassed. Oh, God. To have that video of her laying on the floor like that.
But she wanted it. Like, she pushed for it. You know what I mean? She could have been like,
no, she pushed for that video not to play.
Oh.
She kept asking the judge not to play the video and crying on the stand while it played. There's certain stuff that you can't
control.
You can't control with a cross-examination, and there's and cross-examinations are lethal, man. They got to paint the narrative, and they tear your ass up.
You would have been an excellent lawyer.
Really?
In your next life, in your next life, I want you to be a lawyer, or you already were a lawyer. You'd be excellent.
But listen, based off of what I read, I don't think that the jury made the right decision legally. I think they made the right decision with their hearts and minds, and probably the decision that I would have made. But legally, there's a lot of reasonable doubt in this case. And I actually thought he was going to get off completely.
You thought that she inflicted those wounds on herself?
There's reasonable doubt that she did it when she fell in the closet. There's reasonable doubt that she did it. That it was not, like.
And why was she in that closet unconscious? She was.
Nobody knows how she
was
even
on
got
drugs
there.
Or something.
He had someone testify and say that the injuries to her were not consistent with her story. He had a forensic person come in and do that. That's reasonable doubt. Mm-hmm. He had the driver say she was the aggressor in the car. That's reasonable doubt. You see the video, he's running. She went out after that's all reasonable doubt.
But
I'm not
that
saying
car,
that
he was forceful of getting off of her.
He was forceful of putting her back in the car. Could she have hit her head? But even the forensic person said you don't get an ear cut behind your ear like that by hitting your head. That's not how it works. But yeah, he was forceful in shoving her back in that car. But also, legally, you're allowed, if you're trying to
yourself.
it's not defense. You're trying to get away from somebody. You're allowed to put space in between you and a person with they say reasonable force. And that's up for what's reasonable force. You've got this big ass dude that just finished Creed and this little white ballerina girl. Of course he's gonna look a certain way. So it's all tricky. It's all tricky. Again,
Your Honor, this is all tricky.
No, I'm just saying. If I was a defense attorney, I would be like, you can't look at the evidence that we provided and say that there's not reasonable doubt. Therefore, you cannot convict. It has to be without a shadow of a fucking doubt, which is why so many women don't come forward, and it's so unfortunate because the burden's on them to prove it, and it's fucked up. Again,
but it was proven because he was black, you think?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
but that people are saying that.
People are saying that, and I don't think that we would be honest if we didn't discuss
the racial
component of this and the physicality of him
and the physicality
of her.
Lord of mercy.
And what it means to see a white woman crying on the stand profusely, the judge saying, do you need a break? You know, like all of those things come into play.
Damn,
they do.
What is the word for that?
I swear to God, I'm not trying to cape for him. I'm literally only talking about the law. I don't believe that I don't believe again that Jonathan is not at fault in some way, shape, or form in this relationship.
So Marvel said that if he were not guilty,
they didn't say shit. They just announced. Marvel Studios drops Jonathan Majors following guilty verdict for harassment and assault. Marvel Studios has parted ways with Jonathan Majors, the actor, blah, 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 who's playing King, central and the antagonist, yada, 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 after he was convicted December 18th, yada, 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 in the verdict, but yeah, they didn't say shit. They just parted ways. Jabari alleged that Majors forcefully retrieved his phone from her. That's the other thing. That's the other thing is that
you grabbing my shit.
You're allowed to try to get your property back from somebody, but it has to be reasonable force. Oh, he's 34, not 32. Anyway, his sentencing is set for February, so I don't think he'll see any time, not a bit of time.
Well, but the cost is not necessarily time for me.
Now, if he sees time, that's when I'm be like, this is okay. Now y'all doing a lot.
What's he going to do?
This is not inequitable. Oh, now this is
his career
equitable.
done? Is his career done?
I don't think so. I think he takes a pause. I think that he's not on the same trajectory, right? But I think if he handles this well, and he has the right PR after this, that he can come back.
Right.
I do. I don't think that, Disney dropping him is not good because that signals to the rest of the studios how they should align themselves. And also Disney setting themselves apart from the DC world because they're like, DC didn't handle this well. That's our direct competitor with these superhero films. They've got problems over there. We don't want problems over here. But who knows? Does he play the Dennis Rodman role he was up for? I don't know. I think it's really going to depend too on how Hollywood responds, how other Hollywood actors respond. Is he shunned? Do they stay away from him? Is he still invited places? It all depends on who holds him, who reaches their arms around him. And unfortunately, Megan Good ain't got enough pull no, she ain't it. She ain't giving him the stamp of approval to get them jobs back. No diss to her.
Thank y'all for listening. And
long one, but a good one. No conclusions here, only questions. But sad. Pray for them, y'all.
All right. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Bye, I love you.
I love you.
It's the same week. It comes out the same week.
Oops.
They won't see us next week. Taking a break. Okay, bye. Like, if that was my son, I'd be like, y'all better stop fucking playing with me. They did not prove their case. You kidding me?
Mm.
And how many other people get off because of reasonable doubt?
Mm.
You know, it's tricky. Or maybe they're making examples out of people because there's a movement to be like, we not having this shit no more.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a new day.
Also that part.
I don't know.
The pendulum swings.
Baby. And it swang. It's so. See. Oh, Jonathan. But that Bible was irritating me. Even the way they would walk out the courtroom where he has to make sure he puts her coat on and
I
it's
know.
all in front of the cameras. It's like it's not
like,
helping.
yo.
Like, who's telling you to do that? Just walk out. Just leave. You know? But I don't know if he's hitting on people, but I think that he's throwing shit the way she said he was. I think he's flipping out. I think he's shaking people.
Is that abuse?
He looked like he got a good shake in him.
Is that abuse or not?
God.
Let somebody throw some shit, shake my daughter, yell at her,
hell yeah,
scare her.
I think that
let somebody do that to you.
I think they were both doing it too. That's the other thing. They both seemed like they were cutting up. I also thought it was interesting that she was recording that audio without him knowing it that day. Maybe she could have just been that scared of him. Or are you setting him up? Like nobody fucking knows. That's the problem. The or this or that reasonable doubt. It sucks. Women having to prove these cases, the burden is all on them. It's so sad. That's the way the law is. But if I had a little boy and he's being accused of some shit.
Interesting.
Right?
Hard.
All right. Ready?
You ready for this?